So, if you use Claude to write emails, maybe bounce around some ideas, or even draft up long essays, your entire workflow actually fundamentally changed back in August of 2026. Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a pretty massive update, how Anthropic secretly started marking the text its AI generates. Now, we're not talking about some visible logo stamped at the bottom of the page. No, this is a completely invisible, highly statistical watermark that's literally woven directly into the words themselves.
Now, you might be wondering, is your own writing about to betray you? Okay, I know, it sounds a little dramatic, but let's look at the reality here. As of August 2nd, 2026, everything you write with a new Claude model contains a hidden signature, a signature that tracks your AI usage and practically hands third-party detectors the ability to flag your text as touched by AI. And here's the kicker, this isn't something you can just toggle off in your settings. It is there, hiding in plain sight, and man, it brings up some huge questions about privacy, trust, and how we even define authorship in the modern age.
All right, let's jump straight into part 1, the invisible ink and the 15 million euro threat.
So why on earth would a company do this to their own users? Well, it comes down to strict, hard-hitting legal necessity. 15 million euros, or, if it's worse, up to 3% of a company's global annual revenue. That is the massive potential fine hanging over their heads under the European Union's landmark AI Act. Specifically, we're talking about Article 50 of the Act, which lays out new transparency rules, basically demanding that providers of generative AI make sure their outputs can be detected as machine-generated. To avoid those devastating fines, Anthropic, along with almost 200 other companies like Google and OpenAI, signed a voluntary code of practice. But Anthropic, they moved way faster, and honestly, a lot more aggressively, turning what was a compliance mandate into an unavoidable global update.
And look, when we say this is unavoidable, we truly mean it. This isn't just some front-end web trick. The marking is applied at the actual model level. So it really doesn't matter if you're using the Claude API, the web chat interface, Claude Code, or even Claude Cowork. You can't just cleverly copy and paste the text into a plain notepad to strip the formatting away, because the watermark is literally baked into the AI's actual choice of words. It travels with your text no matter where it goes.
Moving right along to part 2, how it actually works. We're calling this the SynthID tournament.
So think about this for a second. How do you actually hide a watermark in plain text without adding weird invisible characters or totally messing up the formatting? Well, it's like a giant math-driven puzzle. The underlying method is deeply mathematical and relies on a concept that's really similar to Google's SynthID technology. To really grasp this, we have to understand how an AI writes in the first place. It generates text one piece, or token, at a time. At every single step, the AI calculates a list of plausible next words, and right here is where the watermark steps in. The system uses a cryptographic secret key, combines it with the previous words in the sentence, and basically splits the dictionary into two piles, a red pile and a green pile. The AI is then given this slight hidden bias. It basically gets a thumb on the scale, strongly encouraging it to pick words from that green list. Because the dealer, Anthropic in this case, knows the secret recipe used to shuffle those lists, they can look at any finished document, count up the green words, and statistically prove if the text was steered by their specific key.
Now you're probably thinking, doesn't this totally ruin the writing? Actually, no. And this brilliantly illustrates why the text quality doesn't just fall off a cliff. Imagine the AI is trying to pick the next word, and it realizes that useful, effective, and practical are all perfectly good options with very similar probabilities. Information theorists call this high entropy, basically a state of high uncertainty where a bunch of different words would work just fine. The watermark only heavily influences the AI's choice during these high entropy moments. It just gently nudges the AI toward the green-listed word without changing the meaning or degrading the quality of the sentence whatsoever.
Which brings us to a rather terrifying catch. Let's look at part 3, the authorship trap, provenance versus proof.
Okay, here is the massive plot twist of this whole explainer. Imagine we've got two different students. Student A asks Claude to write an entire essay completely from scratch. Boom, done. Student B spends weeks researching, organizing, and writing an incredibly thoughtful original essay, but right at the very end, asks Claude to just quickly proofread it and fix some grammar. Guess what? Because Claude has to basically regenerate the text to give you the corrected version, it embeds the watermark into the student's original work. To the detection software, these two drastically different scenarios look absolutely identical. They both just get flagged as AI. And Anthropic themselves actually admit this. The absolutely crucial point here is that a detected mark does not confirm authorship. The watermark merely signals provenance, which just means the text came into contact with Claude at some point. It is not absolute proof that an AI originally conceived the ideas or drafted the entire document. Yet, as we've seen time and time again with early AI detectors, nuance is pretty much the first casualty. A flagged document sitting on a teacher's or a manager's desk is frequently treated as a guilty verdict right out of the gate, completely regardless of what the tech documentation actually says.
So can you get around it? Let's check out part 4. Can you evade it? Washing away the ink. If this whole watermark is just a statistical pattern woven into the text, can this invisible ink basically be washed away? Honestly, yes. Quite easily, actually. The system is inherently fragile. Because the detector entirely relies on a statistical accumulation of word choices, it just falls apart if the text is too short, like if you just write a quick email or a single paragraph. Furthermore, if you take that watermark text and heavily manually edit it yourself, or translate it into another language, or simply ask another AI like ChatGPT to paraphrase it, you completely scramble that carefully arranged ratio of green and red words. The statistical signal degrades entirely, and that leads to a ridiculously high rate of false negatives, where heavily AI-assisted text just slips right through the detector anyway, totally undermining the reliability of the entire system in the first place.
And that brings us to the human element. Part 5, Societal Backlash, the Scarlet Letter. So, let's recap. We have a technology mandated by law, incredibly prone to false accusations, and yet easily bypassed by determined users. Unsurprisingly, it has sparked some intense outrage. One Reddit user captured the raw emotion of this perfectly, calling it a digital tattoo on their forehead. Professionals who legitimately rely on Claude to just summarize meeting notes, or coders who use it to format their own original work, are absolutely terrified that this invisible scarlet letter will permanently taint their original efforts. They feel like they're paying for a tool that is silently marking their work as artificial, totally exposing them to false accusations of cheating or plagiarism in schools and in the workplace, without any clear process to actually dispute the detector's claims. Which leaves us with this final, genuinely provocative question. What happens to human authorship in a watermarked world? As AI becomes deeply integrated into how we brainstorm, edit, and create, the line between human and machine is blurring fast. Anthropic's invisible watermark is for sure a fascinating technical achievement, and yes, it's driven by real regulatory pressure, but as we've seen today, it's far from a perfect solution. It proves contact, it does not prove creation. Now, there's a lot more to unpack here, so I highly encourage you to read the full, in-depth source analysis linked in the description below to explore the deeper legal and technical nuances we covered today. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.